All right, let's dive into a story that's going to stick with you. We're heading to a village where children just vanish. It's a place ruled by these ancient rituals, a terrifying deity, and a secret that's been buried for who knows how long. This is the story of Moloch. I mean, that's the central question, isn't it? It just hangs over this entire place like a thick fog. And when an outsider shows up, someone determined to get answers, he kicks off this chain of events that unearths a horror that is, well, just beyond anything you can imagine. And this? This is the belief that holds the entire village hostage. It's a chilling, horrifying rule that literally dictates who lives and who dies. This is the key to understanding the darkness that has taken root here. So, let's turn that key. Okay, so our story actually kicks off with a pretty standard official investigation. On the surface, it's all about numbers and bureaucracy. But what lies underneath is a mystery that just completely defies any rational explanation. So, meet Rakesh. He's our guy, a man of logic, reason, sent from the city's education department. His job is pretty straightforward. Figure out why a school has basically been abandoned. He's thinking he's dealing with a simple administrative problem. Oh, he could not be more wrong. Just look at these numbers. They tell a terrifying story all on their own. I mean, a school just doesn't lose over 75% of its students in a single year for no reason. This isn't just kids skipping school. This is a statistical red flag that points to something being deeply, deeply wrong in this village. And this is the very first thing Rakesh notices. It's not just that the kids aren't in school. They aren't anywhere. The streets are empty. The alleys are quiet. It's like the very sound of childhood has been totally erased from this village, and it's been replaced by this unnerving, heavy silence. So, to even begin to understand this silence, Rakesh has to look way beyond his government files. He has to dive into the folklore, the legend that has this entire village in its grip. And this is Moloch, the being at the absolute center of the village's fear. The source material describes this just terrifying idol, part man, part beast, with a furnace for a stomach. It's an image that is specifically designed to inspire absolute terror and, of course, obedience. And here's the brutal logic that governs their entire lives. It's this twisted cycle of protection through pure horror. They believe they have a simple choice. You sacrifice one child to save everyone else, or you refuse and you watch your entire world crumble into famine and plague. They are completely trapped. And right here, in the voice of a mother named Sarla, we see the real human cost of this belief. Her cry of defiance, it's just this heartbreaking reminder that behind all the folklore and the ritual, these are real people facing an absolutely impossible choice. So as Rakesh starts his work, he begins to peel back the layers of silence and fear, and what he finds is, well, it's more disturbing than he ever could have possibly imagined. In a deserted temple, Rakesh finally finds some of the village's remaining children, but they're not playing normal kids' games. No, they're acting out this dark ritual, a performance that just goes to show you how deeply this horror is embedded in their minds. So he asks a simple, innocent question, but the answer he gets is anything but. The sacrifice game. Right there, in those 3 words, the true, horrifying nature of the village's secret starts to bleed into Rakesh's reality. Rakesh, obviously disturbed, takes his concerns straight to the village priest, a man named Agoram. But instead of answers, he just gets this condescending warning. Agoram basically dismisses Rakesh's modern logic, telling him he's too small-minded, too naive, to grasp the deep, dark truths of their world. Now, Rakesh is a man of facts, and despite all the warnings and this incredibly strange atmosphere, he starts putting the pieces of this terrifying puzzle together. So look at what he's gathered so far. Each piece is like a breadcrumb, leading him deeper and deeper into the darkness. You've got the children's game, the villager's total fear, a terrifying nightmare of the idol after he realizes he was drugged by the priest, and now, a fire in some distant ruins. You can feel it, right? A confrontation is coming. So Rakesh follows the light of that fire to the ruins, and he's met with this challenge. Agoram knew he was being followed the whole time. The time for hiding is over. This taunt, it's an invitation to the final, horrifying reveal. So there, in those crumbling ruins, surrounded by fire and shadow, the truth, the real truth, is finally revealed. Get this, everything the villagers believed, it was all a lie. There was no demanding God. There was only a manipulative sorcerer. Agoram himself was the one causing the crop failures and the sickness, all to maintain his power and demand these horrifying sacrifices. And here it is, his motive, straight from his own mouth. This was never about appeasing a god. It was about one man's lust for power. He confesses that he worships a much darker force, harvesting the life energy of children to try and achieve immortality. Overhearing this confession, the villagers' fear finally turns to rage, and they enact this swift, brutal justice. The very man who used a furnace to fuel his dark magic is himself consumed by it, ending his reign of terror. So, the monster is defeated. The children are safe. It really seems like the story is over. But true evil, it often leaves a shadow behind. Time passes, a whole year. The village begins to heal. There's laughter again. Peace has returned. It really feels like a happy ending. But then, under the darkness of a new moon, a figure is seen digging up that buried idol. It's Agorm's son, and with this chilling smile, he speaks to the statue, promising that his father's dark work is not over. The evil wasn't just in the man, it was in the bloodline. And that is the thought we're left with. The story of Moloch and Agoram raises a truly unsettling question. When evil is passed down, like an inheritance from one generation to the next, is there any hope of ever truly escaping it?